GoodbyeRadio.com.
Thank you, Lord, for the blessings that come my way. Right now I'm living like my life is a holiday. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't know about it. I don't know about it. Some worship idols, some worship you.
A beautiful day to you out there, beautiful people of the world, beautiful people of Lagos, beautiful people of Nigeria, beautiful people of Africa. It's your own work, MEBOREAN, Moborian, the Baba Jabu of comedy. And you know how it is now, any time you hear that name, you know it's in the ground. You know, of course, it's time for your program, my program, our program, the most loved program on radio, Sides of the Coin with Moborian and friends. And today, you know, different though. The way we do it, we always do it the same way. Two comedians in the house, plus myself making three, one topic, one radio station, Global Radio. And that, you know, we do it better than any other station does it. So, to topic for today, man, I don't know how we go talk this one. Today, we get as a view because the matter, when I first come, my producer showed me, so now the topic we will discuss today with this, I said, man, okay, before anything, I'd like to introduce my guest in the house. I'd like to introduce my guest in the house, MC Popiko. MC Popiko is a fine comedian. Anywhere he goes, he makes things happen. He talks and he makes people feel is. I don't have to tell you he's funny because he is funny. MC Popiko, how you doing now?
I think I just think I'm lucky to like say mosquito chop me my body, but
mosquito no dey inside this hour. AC filled room. This studio they bam more than any studio we have ever been. I can tell you that. But how the matter be for the fuel crisis for your area?
Very small thing and tell you. From my town, everybody just carry you can't define fuel.
I tell you these days the way things be for my area, picking and fuel. You see parents they protect their fuels, they leave their picking. I say wetin dey happen. It pass wetin happen. But thank God for God, the thing is, you know, getting better day by day. We dey pray for Nigeria now. So why we go pray our prayer no go dey answer? You know how many pastors, how many GO we get for this country? Know how we go pray God no go answer now? Because why? We are God's children. We be apple eye. Anytime you see Nigeria, they always sign push for the prayer. So how the matter be today? Well, my second guest is not around. I believe due to traffic, but I know very soon he's going to join us. Now, the question of the day: is it good to date your friend's ex? I know my people at home are listening to us, and another power with that one. I know my people at home are listening to us, and they are going to be joining us, you know, on this, you know, topic, and they are going to be telling us what they feel, what they think should be going on, whether man supposed to marry a friend X or woman supposed to date a friend X. But that woman I never know, but guy who I know say it happen well because we don't see things for this world. So anywhere you are in any part of the world and you're listening to us, you under the sound of my voice, I want you to know that you're still hooked on to the best radio around town, GlobalRadio.com. That's where we do it. GlobalRadio.com. That's where you get us, and that's where you're listening to us. And the number to call in case you want to join us is 2341-295-1843. 2341-295-14843. Of course, if you are in Nigeria, you don't need the 234. Just dial 01295-1843. And on Facebook, we did get Gidigba now. You know how they do. Just go. Carry your tab, carry your phone. Just press www.facebook.com/RadioGlobalNG.com. That's how you do it. So now, how the matter they be, boss? What do you feel? Should person suppose date in friend X?
I feel as he take ask me now. Be like say maybe just talking and one kind thing we say you talk say, hey, foul. Friends will benefit matter, you know that kind of thing.
Oh my god, we have a caller on the line already. Hello, good afternoon. Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Deco from Shomolu.
From Shomolu. Deco. Hello.
Yeah.
I believe you know the topic of the day already, have you?
Yes, sir.
Is it good for you to date your friend's ex? Yes or no? Which side of the coin are you?
Come again?
I said, which side of the coin are you? Yes or no?
No. said no.
No, why no now? The way you carry say the no say na like capital letter.
It's not good at all. I don't think.
Yeah, we lost that. Once again, if you want to join us, the number to dial is 012951843, and if you are calling from outside Nigeria, you dial 23412951 and you'll be on us live. MC Kopiko, the way we dey talk and go now, wetin you dey talk say happen for this matter? Say because now the person dey call from Shomolo now say e no good, e say na capital no, say you no suppose date your friend X, but the way me I dey reason am, what if my friend X na be my own misright? I no talk say na the thing, I just dey ask.
So because say you come good now, you start to on go. You can't dey watch and try to fly they go.
They go, of which we know wetin finding this right can be.
Brother, we got to find something down.
And so your own now wetin you believe say appreciate person suppose date a friend X, abi no suppose date am.
Water still pass Gary.
Water pass Gary. Right now I'm going to be playing you Chris Daniel Rojo before we come back, and I will be getting more from MC Kopiko, and I hope our the other invited guests to be around to join us on the show.
Whether you are go carry go, see a carry go. Maybe you are the check on no. Whether you are one and no. See Ferrari. Very sweet, very nice. Very truly, all the time. Show us no taxi, my love over your own. But you don't go there, papa. So I feel like I'm sorry. But you baby, boy, I want you. Baby, do I want to buy? But now you I want to marry. See I got it though. Baby, you are the giver, but now you are want to give my life to baby, very sweet, very nice. Baby, to the all the time. Show us no taxi, my love, we are on me. But you don't go there, papa. So I feel like I'm sorry. Baby, boy, I want you. Baby, you are carry come on, but now you are carry go. I carry go. Baby, you are the check on no, but now you are one and no. Baby, very sweet, very nice, very truly, all the time. Show us no taxi, my love over your own. But you don't go there, papa. So I feel like I'm sorry. Baby, I want you.
unifying your radio experience. Yeah, you're still on the program Sides of a Coin with Medoria and friends, and you're still hooked on to the best radio around town, RadioBobaNG.com, where we make things happen. And to the people, we see it about. Is it good to date your friend's ex? Are they no good?
See this particular matter, it just be like this kiss down here matter we just finish now. Would you?
Okay.
Every time we say, maybe you are the give her, you gonna give her? You won't collect your ex back. You say you don't the give her.
No, seriously, you get how everything be. Because I just look, I just think, they imagine everything. Imagine now, you don't search for babe, you don't see for Nigeria, you can't travel out, sake of say your parents get money, you can't travel out. You can't meet one babe for jam. You can't carry the babe come Nigeria. Okay, say man, not to work. Only for your best friend to tell you, man, I don't date this girl when you be secondary school, me and she will run paros die. What did they happen? And you don't fine. So you just because say your friend, you don't say because you know you can't see the wedding.
You never see my target 2005 for one particular ending. Now me get and I mean
because all these kind of things, it get as it be. Many a times we just make up our mind, say, now this thing we want to do, this one not supposed to be like that. But when we really think about the matter now, we go know say this thing will be simple something. It will be very easy to make the decision, right?
This kind of matter self, if plaintiff and defendants can come me judge, judge will still they look the eyes, everything I want.
No, seriously, because they easy. Now you love the girl, or let's come to the side of the girl. Now I know most ladies will definitely say no, I can't date my friend's ex. Now lie, but when your friends come make money, your friend ex come make money, come find out say this guy don't they look like Mr. Right, man, you go change song.
Yes, man, that money they find.
No. Maybe say all girls they find money. But it's just that say Nigerian girls believe say love na seed. Now money be the water, we will make the seed. So now if the thing happen to you now, MC Kopiko, so you can't date one girl like that. You don't date her maybe for like let's say 2 years. You can't find out say no, this girl now your friend ex, and for your mind the girl don't be to marry. What do you think you go do?
People make una no judge me. This is not dilemma situation, but I don't need to satisfy myself, satisfy another person.
Okay, it will just head on straight. See,
at least I will clear my mind.
You go clear your mind. See,
then we will face the bat with the drive.
Okay, if no be you, imagine now. If you say, now me and you as we be friends now, you can't see me and one day you can't, and your ex, how you go feel?
On a palava, I still tell you big time palava. I don't know. This one we say this kind of time now. They just see your guy carry you for mine, beef you, give you poison. The other friend give you something make you trust.
But my ex now, why you go poison me? If you work together, she not supposed to graduate from girlfriend to ex-girlfriend now.
Poison you. I don't think you want. You want chop the same food. You want chop.
No, maybe the same food now. He leftover. Now he leftover. You don't understand.
Don't come back to him leftover.
But normally, what thing you talk say when you chop again? You not supposed to come back there again say you want chop.
People for you with that.
You can't invest me. We wake up my mind say okay, this food I want chopper. Well, I just believe say if the girl don't like me, nothing if you do MC Kopiko. Nothing if you do.
But if I need to like you, I don't like you.
Man, that a story for the gods. but seriously, how una two go dey inside relationship? The relationship dey work, una go break up. For una to break up, na you say the relationship go work again now, abi? And me I can't see and pick her. We are trying to work things out. Then you can't show face. You try tell me.
Maybe that time something cover an eye. Maybe now you should cover an eye. They can't come with the children.
Can you imagine? Right. Now you can't say me and the baby call their own packaging. The package can't be like say me. It can't be the original one. The way the package they go straight to the outside. Can't be verse.
That time they will hear sing to face for them. If love is a crime.
Oh my God! Seriously, we're still expecting your call. We want to know what you think we should do, whether it's good for a lady to date her friend X or it's good for a guy to date his friend X. The numbers to call is 012951843. We're still expecting you call. We want you to be part of this program because this is your program. And now I'm going to go to Surulere. Where's Surulere? Now Lagos, Abi? But this Surulere I want to do now. It will like I'm going to go there with Dr. Seed and Don Jassy. We'll be right back.
Hello.
Amor man, baby, some more picking. I'm my niggas from the start, from when it all begin.
Yes, I believe I pray for the
Yeah. That's one before there saying Namorawa, but you no concern me with Namoraing because my own they say you and the girl na no dey again, me and the girl na every day now. And you call me try tell me say I no fit go out with the babe or come say why now? Why? Say come say wetin happen. MC Kopiko. No, seriously now, because you know, one thing about this topic is this: I know girls are going to be on one side and guys are going to be on their side. Guys will not say anything wrong in it, and ladies will be like, like, how will you beat my ex? Like, my phone really, this, you know that kind of thing now. But the truth of the matter is this: your ex, it's somebody's fine ex. If it's working with you, why don't you guys part ways? That you part ways means that, man, nothing do with you again with that.
Time when I come from Southern, they tell you with one kind of language, tell you say, yeah, where you come. But
the truth of the matter is this: if you want to really happen for Nigeria, we make that thing easy for mine, because guys from Nigeria, they don't believe for one night stand. Their own mind, they say once they there, always they there. And you know, if you not find out, I say this friend of mine and this my wife, they don't run parade together. Anytime you see them, they talk, you go suspect. Yeah. Because maybe you just come back from work now. Your friend come, he come, even play with me today. Every complete of my friend. You know that is what you want to that kind of thing. Oh my God, you know, anything that is good time is nice, friend. Our time is up already. Our time is up already, and we have to go now. People, say something to people at home.
I say hi to all of them. Me them no go cause wahala, for waiting no cause anything, no cause wahala.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, if you're still under the sound of my voice, and you know it's your boy, MADORIAN, Monday on the Baba Jobo of comedy, Naso with the drum. Next week, we're going to come with another topic, and I know you call in as you usually do, and you'll be part of this program again. And till next week, when I come your way again, I remain my humble self, Nigerian, the Baba Jobo of comedy. Thank you.
Aristocrat Records.
See you, I want the same way you want it. I like it, you like it, you know that. The story that my colors is true. Everybody know that God is here. Nobody tell me why you come, nobody tell me why you are so good. So Slowly down. show must go on. Our people been waiting for so long. Tell them we can take back shot from the one. Hold on, what have I done so wrong? I've been waiting for a very long time to tell you what's on my mind. Them go there, baby, to get from a level and cost them their whole lifetime. Now that you see me trying to move ahead, you want to carry big stuff to my head, trying to slow me down, so I see. Now that you see me trying to move ahead, you want to carry big stuff to my head, trying to slow me down. Every monkey wants to be banana. That's why everybody wanna hammer. Distance called God, riding distance called Allah. Your girl wanna feel like she's a bomber. I wonder why everybody wanna feel like a bad guy. Sometimes I wonder why everybody wanna be a shy guy. Now that you see me trying to move ahead, you want to carry big stuff to my head, trying to slow me down, so I see. Now that you see me trying to move ahead, you want to carry big stuff to my head, trying to slow me down. Trying to move ahead, big stuff to my head.
It's lyric, the paramedic.
You're still listening to Radio Global, and this is issues affecting myself and Jerry. I've been talking about a lack of electricity supply right here, even in Nigeria. A whole lot of people are still talking about it. A lot of people are saying so many things about it. I hear a lot of people cursing, some even praying and all of that. So it has become a very, very big issue. But now we will look at solutions. What do you think can be done in order to help the present situation, or should people just go to their generators alone? But the fuel prices have increased, so what do you expect people to do concerning that right now? Well, Jerry's still right here. Jerry, what do you believe could be done to just settle this issue of electricity supply right here now in Nigeria?
Well, I'm not. Okay. Let me say. Okay, yesterday, while talking to a friend about the lack of electricity and fuel and how unbearable it is. He said the incoming vice president, that is Professor Oshibanjo.
Yes.
He said there's a plan to tackle the insufficient electricity in Nigeria by donating or creating power plants in local governments and all that. It's been done in Alausa.
Okay. Oh yes. That's what myself and some people were talking about yesterday.
Alausa, have constant lights.
It generates its own power. Yes.
It's not like a generator, like a fuel diesel, power generator. It's just generates electricity. So I think if we can have that
such a
in
thing,
each local government in Nigeria,
it would be good.
It will go
a long way. You know, you will always find people saying, I don't have like, you know, my battery is flat or something like that. You know, even if the power, you know, the power goes out for even if an hour or two in a day, it's still, you know, it's still okay.
It's understandable.
Even if it's just out of 24 hours, you don't have light for just 4 hours. You know, it's okay. You know, I think it's still okay, but you know,
not having the light at all is the problem now.
I thought is the problem now. Because even 6 hour light, if one can get 6 hours straight of light now, that person will be happy because he knows what he will
do with that light. Seriously, because a lot of people will go to work even in the week without their clothes being ironed. And when you get to work, your shirt is rumpled, your towel is rumpled.
Yesterday with my clothes ironed, I just had to wear something, you know.
And these are really presentable.
It's presentable. Like if people see me, they won't know it's ironed. So that's why I went to work yesterday. So I don't. So I think I'm not the only one who had that issue. I'm not the only one who had that issue. Some, I think, it's not even only about iron. It's about water itself. You know, people on a normal day, they have water. You know, they don't need to stress themselves to get water.
Now you find out that you just found out that the electricity has affected water too.
Yes, just like take their baths, go to work.
A friend of mine, I was talking to a friend of mine yesterday, and he was like, okay, that if he is on his way home, and when he gets home, that he prays his landlord pumps water before he gets home. What else?
Because he knows it's not the landlord's fault.
Yeah.
On a normal day, if the landlord doesn't pump water, he will go and meet him shit.
I paid money.
But being that he also understands that there is no flow and all that, this one might not get flow, so he has his finger crossed that this one might own my pump water, this one might not pump water. Anyhow it goes, I'll accept it like that, you know. So I think that power plant is a nice step, is a nice strategy to tackle insufficient electricity.
At least you mean now in some certain areas like local governments?
Yeah, in local government. You can give local government a power plant, you know, to supply lights to the habitats of that local government. And if the local government is not that big, and like 2 local governments can like sustain one power plant without problems, that can also work. So that means you have 2 local governments on one power plant. It doesn't have to like, because if you give a local government which has a lot of, you know, occupants and all that, it will be hard, you know, because everyone will have something to switch on. Everyone will have AC to switch on, microwaves to switch on, and all those power consuming appliances. So if the occupants are few, so it's something you can match to, you know, local government small power plant. But I think the strategy now is that for that power plant, you know, to like get to each local government in Nigeria, most especially in Lagos, because Lagos is very busy. Lagos is very busy. But in Nigeria, I think every local government should have that power plant.
Wow. I believe that the government is hearing right now, and they're thinking of something to do concerning this particular issue, because
not even about the government, even the private
sector. Because we're always talking about the government. It's just hard on them.
We have people like Aliko Dangote, we have people like Motedola, we have people like Adinuga, we have...
They should help the situation.
Nothing is too small. Nothing, you will say when it comes to donation, they will tell you nothing is too small. So I think they should also like improve the country. I believe they have this money and all that, but they are not doing, you know, things, you know, to assist the government. They are not doing things to like assist the government and all that. They're just, you know, making money off from the citizens, and they are not like giving back
to the society.
Lagos has a school, but then it's not a free school because they pay for it also. So it's your own business. It's not like you are giving back to the community. So I think they should like at least give something back.
Yeah, something like the social responsibility stuff. Yeah,
like responsibility, give something. I mean, down with the richest African. I mean, there should be something that he can do for the country he came from, you know.
Yeah, countries representing.
I heard he's also building a refinery. Well, I don't think building a refinery is part of what we need right now. Even though we need it, even though we do need the refinery, because I heard we are importing crude oil and importing it back.
But there's some certain things you will do that really touch the lives of the people themselves at the grassroots level.
If there is constant electricity in Nigeria, trust me, we won't import as much crude oil as we do. We won't import. We only import about maybe 100% of crude oil, and due to the fact that we don't have our own refinery, we might just import about maybe 20% out of it, because we know we have constant light. But that 20% of importing we import back is just like in case of emergency. Maybe there's something wrong with the dam, or maybe there's something wrong with something goes wrong somewhere with the electricity supply, so you can just like distribute out that 20% of fuel to people to use for their generators, I think, while pending the time electricity will be back on resolved. So I think major, like I said earlier, major thing that Nigeria needs to tackle is power.
Power supply. Seriously, because even because of power supply, a lot of people may lose their jobs.
That's because trust me, it's because of this lack of power supply. Like you find out things are really expensive. Because when petrol was 65 naira, things were cheaper than now. Things were cheaper when for things they are just you find out the moment fuel price increases, everything, absolutely everything
will increase.
Even your tariff plan or for data plan, everything will increase. Every single thing will increase. So I believe if there's constant electricity,
will help us.
Even the privatization of the power sector that they even did, there's nothing to show for it. The privatization of the power sector that they did,
PHCN issue,
there's nothing to show for it at all. There's absolutely nothing to show for it, because I pay for lights and I don't get lights.
Now what's the essence of privatization?
Trust me, such thing can't happen in the US. They will get sued.
And they will pay back the massive amount of money.
That money, they will pay back that money. You might even times 2 save or times 3 save. They will pay back that money. It's only Nigeria things like this, like the government can go away with things like this. Because in the US, you find that citizens are even suing the government themselves.
Yeah.
Because they believe once I'm paying for services, once like it's an agreement,
I must get the service I'm paying for.
The agreement was, if I pay for it, I get this. But me paying for this thing and I don't get it, then there's something wrong. You're cheating me and
you're extorting from me.
And I'm working 3 jobs. I'm working these jobs, and you're extorting from me. It's bizarre.
All right. It is still Issues Affecting right here on Radio Global, and we right here in the studio have said our own part of it. We've done our own bit. So what of you out there? What is the situation of electricity in your own area? I hope it's not that bad. Well, to the government, please do something about it. To the private sector, please assist in any way you can in order to make sure that we have electricity, and the people themselves do have electricity to go about their day-to-day businesses and also their lives at home. This is where we drove this particular package of issues affecting to a close. So join us. Same time, same place. I'm going to leave you with the song of Pharrell Williams, and he's saying happy. So Nigerians are happy people regardless of their present situation. A big thank you to Jerry for being a part of the show. Thank you very much, Jerry. Yeah. Alright. So till we come here, same time, same place. This is Pharrell Williams saying I'm happy.
It might seem crazy what I'm about to say. Sunshine, she's here, you can take a break. I'm a hot air balloon that could go to space. With the air, like I don't care, baby, by the way. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. Here come bad news talking this and that. Well, give me all you got and don't hold it back. Well, I should probably warn you, I'll be just fine. No offense to you, don't waste your time. Here's why.